In this first lesson, we'll set our scene up for the animation. This scene is located in the My Data folder and it's called lesson_01. So first off, let's go ahead and change a few things in our preferences. We'll go right down here to get there a little bit faster. Select this icon, the right hand corner of the screen. And the first thing we'll do is go up to Edit and restore everything to default settings. Then we'll start from settings and work our way down. And under settings, we just want to make sure time is set to film 24 frames per second. And once it is, we can now move down to our next category, animation. And for our default in tangency, let's change that to linear. And default out tangency, we'll change that to stepped. And linear and stepped is going to be our blocked out phase where we pose our extremes. And this is great to use for wanting to get your timing down of the animation, especially for more complex animation. So I definitely recommend that you do use this and then go back and smooth out your animation, as it will save time. Okay, so once we have that set, we'll go down to timeline, and under timeline we want to make sure that the playback speed is going to be set to real time 24 frames per second, so that'll be set, and we'll just go ahead and save all of our settings. Okay, now we can focus in on our perspective view, and notice our grid is showing, but since we have a floor, we don't need the grid shown. So if you want to turn it off, you could just hold spacebar to get to the hotbox, go to display, and turn off the grid from there. Alright, now let's go up to Window and Play Blast and change a few things in our Play Blast options. Okay, we'll go ahead and also reset the settings here and work our way down. So for the time range, we'll leave that at time slider. That's fine. And let's go ahead and check off Show Ornament. That'll hide certain things like the camera name and also this ornament at the corner in our Play Blast. For the viewer, let's check on Image Viewer. That'll allow us to Play Blast in F-check, which will allow us to view our animation frame by frame in detail and also draw on the F-check window if we need to. Draw a certain line of actions or anything we may need to draw in our F-check to help us out with the animation. So for the display size, we can leave that from window, that's fine. And let's crank up the scale to 1 so we can see a nice view of our Play Blast. For save to file, I'm going to leave that checked off, but you can save your Play Blast if you like. So you just check that on. Once we've done all of these things, let's go ahead and hit Play Blast and immediately hit Escape, just so we can bring up our window. And for our frames per second count, we want to make sure that it's set to 24 frames per second. And once all of these things are set, we can now go ahead and close out our Play Blast window. Okay, and we'll start adjusting our time range here to the duration of our clip or our animation. So the start time is fine, we'll leave that at 1, but let's go to our playback end time text field here and put in a value of 380. That's going to be our end time. Okay, so once that is set, we'll go ahead now and also turn on auto key, which is really going to save time when it comes to animating. So I do also highly recommend that you do animate with auto key turned on. Okay, and the last thing we'll do is make sure that we have a key on all of our controls. Okay, so first we'll go to frame 1, we'll make sure we're there, and we actually do have character sets for this guy, and we get there by going to character, set current character set, Animo, and here are his character sets. So here's his top one in the hierarchy, and then we have his sub character sets. Okay, but what we want to do is select this top one called Animo, and with this selected, we'll just hit S on frame 1 to make sure that all of his controls are now keyed, which they are. So once we have done these things, we're now ready to start animating, which we'll start doing in the next lesson.